Hello everybody, today I want to talk with you about the different form of transaction, paper documentation you will encounter when you do a real estate operation in Guatemala. So follow me. Hello, I'm Armand Boissy, your real estate agent in Atitlan, Guatemala. My 30 years of experience are here to help you discover this area and invest wisely as well. So let's say you have find a perfect property, house, land or business and you would like to buy it. So as you have seen in precedent videos, the form of real estate here is very different than what you're used to. So if you encounter sellers or you look in some places in the internet and people said the property is title. So yes, it has a piece of paper who said that the seller owns it, and in this paper it explains how he documented his how he bought it. So normally it's made in front of a notary. That's the first thing. In Guatemala, all these documents are either made in front of a notary or in places where they don't have notary. In certain villages, the locals, they go to the city hall, to the secretary and the mayor, and the villages, the municipality they have the rights to write these documents. They explain the ownership, and they can make also the local's transaction where the mayors act as a notary. So it's called an acta notarial de la municipalidad. Okay. If you have presented with a title, it's very hard to have two titles on the same property. It's almost impossible. Now, rights of possession, yes, you could encounter that other people have the same rights that you have. So that's a tricky part, because the only way you can be guaranteed is the possession, which means if you're buying a piece of land, a house is less complicated because there's more security, you have a house built on. But when it's a piece of land, you have to be sure that these rights of possession documented, measure it, you find it, the size, its fence, and there's some years of possession. That's a way to protect you. And the leasehold government from the contracts, that's very hard also, that to have two contracts on the same piece of land. The government is very cautious, and they check on their database, and to be sure that only extend one contract. But it could happen also, because if you have old contracts and people have not been on the land, it's happened in certain areas of the country where are not so used to visited. So yes, it's something it's important to understand, because it will condition, make you comfortable with your purchase, and don't hesitate to consult with a real estate lawyer who speaks English in order for you to understand very well, and contact me for any other information, or if you need me to help you on certain matters. The second form is in front of a notary, and that's nothing to do with the village. So somebody go to the notary and buy a property, and it's documented by the notary. Now, also sometimes people, they don't have this story of documentation because their family has been owning the property for a long time. So what they made is a declaration on the oath of their possession. Because again, we have a different form of ownership, the quality of ownership. So yes, they have a document last of the country. So still lots of land are only owned under the form of squatter rights or rights of possession, which means that people have been using the land, sitting on the land, acquiring rights over time, but it's not documented by a title from the government. And some people said, yes, I have a titulo, which is a document, a piece of paper, but the quality of the ownership is very different. So I have these situations very often where my foreign clients, they would like to see el titulo, but then it's very important to understand that the document, el titulo, it doesn't mean it's a registered title, a deed. We don't have a capacity of looking into an archive, a digital archive, to see who owns what. That's also another thing. My clients are surprised sometimes that they're like, oh, let me check, send me the document, I want to check it, or where I can check this document. Well, it's not possible. Right now, the National Registry of Deed is slowly getting digital, but still we don't have a map like in the modern countries where you can go log in, see the lots, you can see the boundaries, who owns what, and the qualities of tax and things like that. Here in Guatemala, no, it doesn't exist yet. So remember, the document you will going to be dealing with can take different form. Title, deed, so that's yes, registered, and you can do a title search on that. Escritura pública, well, escritura pública, it means it's made in front of a notary. So in this escritura pública, it will be specified what kind of ownership you will be dealing with. It can be registered, so you will have a proper numeration that can be checked in the National Registry. It can be rights of possession, which means you have squatter rights. It can be a leasehold contract from the government, which means that you wouldn't be buying the land, but you would be buying the right of the leasehold, of the rent. So that's another thing also. The land waterfront are not owned by the government unless they are in the urban area or they have been registered before 1956. So if you buy your rights of possession on the waterfront, you would have to upgrade this ownership toward a leasehold with the government. But you need to buy the rights of possession first. That's a condition to be able to request the lease from the government. So yes, remember, different form of ownership, and they are in documents that have different qualities. The best one is a title. It has a number, finca, folio, libro, which means the land, the page of the book. So in our case, it would be finca number 1 of the book number 1 of Solola. That's how you can find it after. Rights of possession, it's still a paper. You will be presented a document, but it is by a notary and there is no registry. It's impossible to find out. Leasehold contract with the government, yes, it has a numeration, which normally starts with a number and the year. And you can go back to the government and you can get a copy, or you can see what is about this contract, who owns it, since when, how much they pay. And ultimately, you have some villages where they own the land, and there it's a little bit more complicated because you would have rights of possession on a property owned by the village per se. The village, until they modernize their administration of the land and all these things, are very, they know that and understand that people buy rights on their own deeded territory. So thank you. Remember to click on the video, share it, comment if you have, and see you next time.